Scorpio, the last 2 months we've had problems with narcissistic attachment. Is it over? No, but it might be over during March. In fact, I think it is. You look at that top left-hand card, energy. Stabbed in the back, an abrupt ending. So it's not you who brings an ending to it, it's them, but it needed to end, thank goodness. Bottom right, in the past, it had you thinking, what could I have done better? Is it my fault? Trying to work out what has happened. You've just got to go no contact, that's the only way. The overall energy is that of the Queen of Wands. Bit of a social butterfly. Now, if you remember last month you got back with the narcissist. Is that what that's about? Is it telling you that this social butterfly aspect of you is what has led to this? Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. Right now you're struggling a bit. You're struggling with all that you've got to do. I was 20 years with a narcissist, and it is difficult. You're trying to earn the money, trying to keep things stable, and it just doesn't work. And my poor son, who developed schizophrenia, was the tragedy in it all. I won't go into it too much, but yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. As I say, it comes to an end, and they bring it to an end. And that leads to you to discovering that you do have great strength. Well, this is the second time it's ended. So maybe now you can find this strength. And in the future, maybe you can be charitable, even towards them, because that's the only way you'll free yourself off them. Things might have been different if you'd actually walked away from... if you'd walked away rather than... walked away from them rather than allowing them to bring an end to it. So could have been a bit different, but it's only slightly, isn't it? Let's get into the full interpretation of this, however, Scorpio. Now, remembering that the last 2 months have been about a narcissist controlling you, we get this Queen of Wands, which tells us what this reading is about, but also impacts on all the other energies. Now, what is it about the Queen of Wands? Well, she's something of a social butterfly. Is that the reason why you allowed the narcissist back into your life? No, I think it goes further than that. She's somebody that likes to be in control and somewhat manipulate others. Were you trying to get revenge on the narcissist? Maybe that's why you allowed them back in. But I don't think it was that. I think you just thought that if you handled things differently, it could be better. Maybe you could replicate those times that seemed wonderful at the beginning when they were love bombing you. And I think this month you realise that you can't control them. You can't at all. Makes me think that you tried to control the situation. Well, we have in the recent past you going inside your head and trying to work things out. Yeah, you were saying to yourself, well, things could have worked out better if only I'd done this, if only I'd done that. I don't think you went back out with them for revenge, but it could be. It could have been you thinking, well, I'll teach him a lesson this time. But I don't think that was it. I think you honestly felt that if you played things differently, that things would end up differently. And what you didn't realise was it was you that was being played. It's not about playing things differently. You're being played. You know? What you don't understand when you're with a narcissist is you're the prey. You know, they're the hunter and you're the prey. And there's nothing that you can do to change that. So the best thing you can do is get out, and get out quickly, and never contact them again. And I'm pretty certain that's what you learn this month at your cost. Right now you're finding life a bit of a struggle. You're struggling to balance things. Well, that's what happens when you're with a narcissist, you know. You're probably working every hour that God sent to earn the money to please them. And yet nothing you do pleases them. Everything you do is wrong, you know. It's a completely unwinnable situation because that's exactly how they design it. They design it so that you're always in the wrong. I remember nearing the end of my relationship, one Sunday, I thought I would count how many times I was told off by her. Well, once I got to 40, I thought, I've had enough, you know. But it must have been way over 40 times that I got told off, you know. I got told off about where I clipped my toenails, and in the end I was ruched up, bent double in a small space trying to clip them because she'd objected to everywhere else I'd chosen, you know. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. And you're beginning to feel it right now. In the future we have the energy of charity. Now it could be charity coming to you. You probably deserve it for all you've been through. Or it could be you being charitable. Are we talking about charity in terms of wealth and finances? Well, we might be. But where I think it is, it's about you realising that the only way to get rid of this cloud in your life that a narcissist put there is to forgive them. You just have to say they were a narcissist. I forgive them. I don't want to know any more about them. I want nothing more to do with them. And once you've done that, you've freed yourself from their spell. You're not even interested in them, not interested in what's happening to them. No interest whatsoever. And then you're free. You're free to lead your life as you want again. And I think that's what this is about. Now, as I keep repeating, the only way to deal with a narcissist is to break off all contact with them. Don't get in contact with them again. Well, you don't need to. They're going to do that to you. They're going to break off all contact with you. They're going to stab you in the back, and it's going to feel incredibly bitter. It's going to feel terribly hurtful. We don't know why yet, and I'll get clarity on this, why they did it to you. I mean, it comes as no surprise. It's the sort of thing they do when they get fed up with a plaything, as it were. They dump them, and they dump them for another plaything. So like I say, it's not surprising, but it will hurt, and it is for the best. It's the best thing that can happen, to be honest. So however much you're smarting, it's actually a very good thing. How could things have been different? Well, you could have got out before then. You could have broken it off and walked away and completely dumped them, which is what you should have done months ago. But I guess, if you did it that way, you'd feel better, but does it really matter in the long run of things? I don't think it does at all. No. Uh, but maybe you'd have a bit more pride if you just walked out. Yeah. Into the unknown to a certain degree, isn't it? That's the problem. It's the problem. You get sort of comfortable in relationships and the way things are. You don't do the right thing, do you? What the universe wants you to know is that you're strong. You've got an immense inner strength. However bad things may feel to you, you can deal with this. You can get through it. You'll push through it. And it does take tremendous courage. Is it going to be easier because it was the second time? I think it is, I think because it's the second time it's happened, it's going to be easier for you. I put up with narcissistic abuse for some 20 years, and unsurprisingly, it took me many, many years to recover. Some people never recover, but I've got the feeling you will. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some clarity on that stabbing in the back to see just how vicious it was. But I think we've got the story here for sure. So I'm seeking clarity on this stabbing in the back. The first card of clarity is the Orchard card, which is unique to this pack. It means anything you want it to mean. Well, we'll come to that when I talk about it. Second card is a card of conflict, pulling in different ways. And the third card is a card of moving on and dumping baggage. So let's look at each of these. So yeah, the first card is this Orchard card, which is, it can be anything you want it to be. And what I read into this is, you got back with a narcissist. You thought you could control it. You thought that it could be different this time. And it couldn't. So it was you believing that it could be how you wanted it. And you actually couldn't, because remember, it's this stabbing in the back, so it's the opposite of what you wanted to happen. So yeah, you thought you were in control and you weren't. It was the inverse of everything that you believed. And the next card of clarity is the card of conflict. And, narcissists, well, they'll never admit they're wrong, but they'll argue over anything. Anything they'll argue over. And in those 20 years I was with a narcissist, there were just arguments all the time, over nothing, I remember we if you're carrying furniture up a flight of stairs, and you go which way and they go right. Well, whichever way they said, because you can get it confused quite easily. Whichever way she said, I got it wrong always. And in the end, I just couldn't carry furniture with her, And it's that sort of thing. It really is, and it wears you out. Because you're always wrong, whatever you do. And once you begin to understand that, it's over. In fact, she'd stop speaking to me to punish me. And I cottoned on to it, so I'd do it back. And I'm not joking. Sometimes we wouldn't speak for 3 months. 3 months. And that's how petty it all is. Whatever you're thinking, I've mentioned it many times, but what you have to do, they've done it for you. What you have to do is you have to break off all contact, completely break off all contact, and completely forget about them. Dump the baggage, just move on and dump the baggage. Now in my case, I moved to a different continent, over 18,000 kilometres away from her. Yeah. Now, I'm not suggesting that you all need to do that, but yeah, you do have to. You do have to just completely forget about them, completely move on and dump all the baggage. Don't give it a second thought. Well, we can summarise for you now, Scorpio. Scorpio, the last 2 months saw you realising that you were with a narcissist. I think they ended it, and then you got back together with them. Well, this month they dump you. You were trying to work out what the hell had happened and thinking, oh, if only I could control it better this time. If I could have those nice bits at the start when they were love bombing you. So you thought that you could work it out. You thought you could do it. But almost as soon as you got back with them, you were juggling again. You didn't have enough time to fulfill all they expected of you. You were working to earn money, but also being told you must do this, you must do that, Just pulling you from pillar to post, and it became a struggle very quickly. You were regretting it very quickly. You should have walked off. You did have an inkling to walk away there, and I think you do have the possibility of doing it. Just walk away. Have nothing to do with them. But I think before you can do that, they end it for you. They end it. And it's quite bitter for you, because you thought you could control it. You thought you could do it. But, it's an end to all those rows. And God, those rows were terrible, weren't they? They were the worst rows you've ever had in your life. And, they never accept responsibility. You were always in the wrong. Yeah, so it's given you the opportunity to do what I've told you you've got to do, and that is move on, go no contact, and dump the baggage. You might be scratching your head and saying, why has it happened to me? And what I can tell you is you're strong enough to deal with it. You've got this inner strength, which means that you're going to be all right. And, this has only lasted a few months. My narcissistic abuse was 20 years. And that does take some getting over. So you will get over it. You will, and you're strong enough to. In fact, I think quite shortly after this, you'll reflect on it and you'll know, because you'll know that you have to forgive them. That doesn't mean to say that you get back in touch. No, not at all. The last thing you want to do is get back in touch. But you recognise that it's just their personality. Some people are like that. And once you can accept that, then you well and truly have moved on.